Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving until the right action appears? I just love this poem, partly because it's presented as a question, which makes me feel like it's an invitation to explore and find out for myself about my mud, about my ability to be patient, and about what right action feels like for me. And this is right in line with the Buddha's instructions to not believe what he offered, but to look inward and find out for ourselves. The word is ehipassiko. I think I first read this poem about 25 years ago, and I've repeated it to myself many, many times since then. And my understanding of it has changed over the years. As we're practicing with all these facets of metta, I'm brought back to exploring it again. Metta practice, I think, sometimes needs the support of patience. We have such good intentions for our practice, right? We know the benefits to ourselves and others, and we forget over and over again. Or our emotions overwhelm our intentions. We want to live from a heartful place, but we don't always. And our progress can sometimes feel really slow. So patience seems to be an important underpinning to our practice. Many years ago, a teacher told me that patience was the ability to sit with my impatience. And I thought about it. Could I find enough space inside to hold the uncomfortable feelings that arose without reacting? I think this is the patience of forbearance that Maria spoke about. And this was useful because I became really familiar with that uncomfortable, ragged energy of impatience. But it always felt a little bit like I was just tolerating it, like I was biting my tongue when I wanted to say something, but knew it would be better if I didn't. Or I was really feeling the impatience of a traffic jam and trying not to honk my horn. There was some level of tightening and holding back in my experience. And no question, this can be skillful. And what I'm finding over time is that patience is so much more than this. It's more than just tolerating uncomfortable feelings. Patience is a quality in Buddhism that's really highly regarded. It's one of the paramis, along with other beautiful qualities like generosity, virtue, courage. There are 10 of them. And these qualities are considered essential on our path to awakening. Joseph Goldstein uses the words tranquility to describe the felt sense of patience. Tranquility, that feels a lot different than restraining or tolerating. So just the word, what does it evoke for you? For me, it's a settling back. It's an abiding and not getting ruffled, like curling up in a big easy chair. And I use that image actually in my mind a lot. Tranquility doesn't really have a quality of restraining. Instead, there's a sense of being okay with whatever's present, letting things be. Can you feel that? Can you feel that in the word and in your body? Remember how Bill would frequently say, take your hands off the steering wheel. Settle back and receive. So if we let go of trying to control, our experience can become more spacious and allowing. In this poem, do you have the patience to wait until your mud has settled? I've been thinking about waiting too. What is the quality of my mind when I'm waiting? And if I'm waiting, am I really being patient? Does it feel tranquil? Waiting can have a leaning forward to it, as if something's going to come later. If I wait, which can sometimes be heard as if I'm patient, then something good or better will happen. I was recently on a retreat given by someone who's living with ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. And she wanted to share with us her journey of dying so that we could learn more about living. So that was the subject of the retreat. And in our first meditation, as we quieted down, she asked us, "What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?" And really, she was asking, what are you leaning forward towards? What's keeping you from being fully present now? This simple question, especially when asked in light of her circumstances, was really powerful. Maybe right here on the cushion, we're waiting for a wonderful experience. Maybe we're waiting for clarity. And in our lives, maybe we're waiting for the new job, the great relationship, enough money, someone's apology. It could be most anything that's keeping us from living fully in this moment. And I think it's worth just exploring that for ourselves. Are you waiting for something else? And I'm not saying that waiting is bad or wrong. It's definitely not as simple as that. Sometimes waiting is just the right thing, but it's really a question. It's for us to discern. Are we waiting with patience and tranquility, settled back? Or are we leaning forward into the future as we wait? Rainier Maria Rilke speaks to the fullness of patience and waiting in this quote from his book called Letters to a Young Poet. And I'll put a link to it in the chat after the talk. So he says, "I beg you, be patient towards all that's unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves. Like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Don't seek the answers which cannot be given to you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer." So I think to myself, what does it mean to live the questions? And I think Rilke is suggesting that we take our hands off the wheel and not lean forward too much. To fully engage with what's happening in our lives right now, to turn towards it and feel its fullness, free of waiting for something else. And after our, months of looking at metta, that really sounds like a facet of metta to me. That kind of patience really supports me. When I lose my mindfulness and repeat the same old patterns over and over, even though I know they're unskillful. It's not to ask myself why I have these patterns or to get frustrated with the pace of change, which can seem sometimes painstakingly slow. But it's to hold them, to feel them, befriend them, live with them, and return again and again to presence, and then see what happens. This is metta, and this is patience. So we give ourselves space, we settle back, we let the mud settle in its own time. That's our practice. So just as an end note, as we end these reflections each day, the other teachers and I frequently say, thank you for your attention, or thank you for your practice. And I think we say it with so much sincerity. I really feel this, and more, I feel that it's true that these practices that we come together for each day, that we're learning about acceptance and clarity, metta, compassion, that's what the world needs. And our sitting together makes a difference. I really believe that. So thank you for your practice.